Good. Drop those hips. Pick your foot up, drop more. Hit the wall with your hip.
This foot.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Sima, go again. I want you to think about dropping your knee to the mat. Drop. Foot up, drop my hip. You're standing up too much. Down. That's it. Now left hand, don't go over to chest wrap. On the other side of his head if you can get it. That's where you want it. Good job, Bisco. Into this Kudukhov Snap that we started. I want to highlight two things here. Now, I'm giving you guys some reminders. Really going to work on using this when they got collar ties being pretty good with. So if ever I'm beating that collar tie, still focus on those details. Where's my hand? I don't want to be in no man's land. I don't want to be over the top. Control that elbow. Elbow in tight. I can drag and be okay with my fingers. But I don't want to start getting extended if I'm blocking myself. Elbow back in. Push the elbow if you like, lift the elbow. Just hand placement's important. What's my head doing? Constantly turning this guy's head out, especially if he's squeezing me in collar. Gotta turn his head out. And I need a little bit of space for that backside hand. Now the details I want you to have. My first step goes in the opposite direction of the snaps. So it's just like when I'm clearing off thumb block. If I'm just not moving my feet, he's going to stay on my shoulder. Just remember the objective of Kudukhov Snap is to get his arm off my collarbone, off my shoulder. Snap it out to my elbow. So my first step, once I clear the position, is away from my snap. And then I like circling my back foot, kind of like swing step, to clear the hand. We'll talk about hand options after we go. I'll let you go on that. The detail I'm focused on is your footwork. That first step moving away. Second step swinging if that feels good to you. If a back step feels good, I'd be okay with that too. Then the other part is it might take multiple times. Pulling this off my collar. So this guy's really tight. I create some space. Snap might look like that. Clear. Our objective is to clear it from you. It's not going to happen every time. If it sticks, it might take me multiple snaps to clear. I like replacing my hand, but I'm going to leave that up to you. We'll talk about that after the lesson. So the details we're focused on is footwork and the hand that's snapping the collar tie off. Direction and multiple attempts at the beat. Usually. Not just circling away from it all the time. Good question. Anything else? Yeah, let's get to an attack after, but really focus on the detail of your footwork and the angle. So if you gotta like slow it down, let's get to the attack. I'm good. Let's get to the details now. Go. It's not this direction. It's not this snap. If I'm snapping like this, I'm really setting up, coming back to post the guy. I'm not trying to clear his hand. It's almost sideways on the snap. So if I want to get the guy underneath me, that would be my right hand does that one. I'm clearing the collar tie by pulling this forearm. All I gotta do is drop my hand, come back wrist control. I can set up a post. If I want to get him underneath me, it's this hand that's gonna pull him under. So basically all I'm doing on the snap is clearing him off the collar by hooking right in his forearm, stepping out, clearing it to my elbow. Then it's just like beating the thumb block. You got options off of it, what you want to do. But a lot of you guys are snapping down too much. So if it feels like pressure on your neck, you're not clearing it out wide enough. That's what we're looking for. I told Visco too, don't think it's got to be from collar tie. We're just working on moving the guy's head position too, which we have to do way more, use our hands to move his head, whether you wrestle collar or not. Like for Visco, it'll be down here. He'll struggle when a guy gets head position on that side and squeezes him in collar. And then he's into the stuff. It's basically beating the collar squeeze when I can't create a lot of space and get his arm straight. Sima was talking about he had trouble when guys are longer armed. This is completely different. I'm gonna beat thumb block. Similar, we can do Kudukhov at the wrist, which as we build in, we'll put in. This one, this collar's bent. There it off. Then rest on the position. Go back out, get that direction back. Go for actions. I'm gonna coach you that way forward. And as we start looking at what we're gonna do after this snap, there's really only 3 things the guy's gonna do. I'm gonna get into arm pull in just a second. But when I'm snapping this off, either he's gonna thumb block the side I club, and we know how to beat thumb block. We're gonna put a lot of time into it, got my options. He's gonna reach with his backside hand. I've got options. We're about to look at another one in just a second. Or he drops both hands and disengages. Come up. Those are really the options the guy's gonna have if I win the snap and beat the position. Obviously, if it fails, we've got to have our secondary things we go to or commit to again. But really start thinking that way. Especially as a partner, what reactions do I need to give? What are going to be common things, and start giving you guys, each other those reactions. So I need to have something when he thumb blocks here, when he reaches that side, and when he disengages, if that's a position that you want to wrestle with. I'm giving you guys options to beat collar, right? Pressure, backhand, push collar tie off, elbow pass, Kudukhov snap. We're going to look at overtie snap. You only need one of them, honestly. You need one thing. When I got collar ties here, this is what my game plan is. I'm going to pressure back in and pass it. Or I'm going to overtie snap. Or I'm going to parry single. Or I'm going to Kudukhov snap. You only need one plan. So when I throw all these skills out, guys, recognize the position that we're wrestling in, and don't think you have to have every single one of them. 1 or 2 options, and that's about it. And then you got to put the time into that being your skill. So we're going to go arm pull now as another option when the guy's extended on a thumb block, especially if we're from space. And we're going to get used to dropping our hand more. So inside tie, collar tie, don't care which one. The guy's taking his thumb over into the armpit. We know our tie is useless. This is the main skill everybody's practicing. Dropping my hand. As I drop my hand, same side, it's going to come to elbow control. Elbow control I like's right on those knots. I get my thumb and my index finger and I find those knots. It's not like what I do when I'm going elbow control and collar tie. My right hand, the opposite side, it's the most important. You're going to want to grab with your elbow out on the wrist. And this is the reason the attack is missed off this a lot. I want to rotate my thumb under as far as I can. Because when I pull this arm off, I want him driving to his opposite foot. I want all the way going in that direction. My options on this, I can go straight like double leg, attack an opposite leg. I can drop, looking low single. I'm not very good at it, but I've seen guys work. They'll come pull off the elbow and sweep to it. I'm not very successful with it. And then worst case, if he's running, I'll end up in high crouch. But don't shoot to your high crouch. It'll put you at a bad angle. Try and double leg him every time. But the attack, I'm not that concerned with. Focus on hand placement. This is what you're going to want to do. It's not great. This is 2-on-1. Rotating the guy off so I get wrist control. It's arm pulls opposite. Thumb rotates in. I just think about getting this B block straight underneath his arm. Driving to the attack.
Is this a go position or is this a be patient kind of thing?
I was just about to talk about that. You got to read the distance. If I pull and he runs, problem. I can also snap, take it into 2-on-1 too. So don't think you got to shoot off this. I can get into a pressure situation. I can rotate my hand around. to stay on the angle. And I want some reps like that. After we get the hand motion down, I'm gonna make you guys do that some to build the pressure up in. And drops, find the elbow, really focus on that cross hand. If you wanna know the footwork, it's hop, step out from it. Trying to split his body, pulling into the attack. I just did what I told you guys not to. Better rep. Go start playing around with it, see how fit you wrestle. Go. From the position, most likely. He's gonna run from it. So after I pull once or I just know he's gonna disengage, one of the ways I can get to the leg attack quickly if I need to is once I clear it, I'm gonna jerk it back in. It's like I'm throwing myself past it. I jerk the arm back into it. And it's just habit for me all the time, especially if the guy crosses and runs, which started to be real popular when I wrestled. The guy will cross that leg through, where you jerk it back in, I'm right in short offense position. And that's the other option I want you guys to have. I'm in, I switch, start to run, get two hands over, get in the head position, come back in, snap, get to those basic snap down belt lines we work on. So I want one rep where you're kind of forcing the leg. So I'm either chasing hard, I'm chasing hard to get to the attack, or I jerk to get to the attack. One, where I'm just crowding space to get the 2-on-1 position. However you want it to get to the snap. Get it snap, look for that quick no button. Get an elbow deep, thinking leg attack finish.
Is there some idea to come up to push off my shoulder once I go into
That backside hand? So if the backside hand starts coming in, just solve that problem. He's basically thumb blocking on the other side. So it's a good way to force it. Parker's getting really good at this. Backside hand. Cool. Or with your wrestle would be backside handcuffs. Something along those lines. It's a good way to make him reach with that backhand too. It's actually a really good point. I should have thought about that earlier and put it in. It's a really good way to make the guy reach with backside hand. Whether he thumb blocks or collar ties, you're probably going to get a square reach. Really good question.
Can you pull this off and pop into your head for a second?
Normally I drop my chin like this. It comes in a back step a little bit. Goes in front. It's like a half a pull 2-on-1. Instead of turning all the way around the arm, just rotate. It's gonna work. Go. Little defense too. So we got to do it better in the room. Plus, if you can get good there, man, it's a great place to be able to score on guys. So he's head inside and he's lifting for split middle. I'm going both hands underneath, and I want you to pause up top because I want you to focus on the details here. So once I know I'm getting lifted, I'm trying to get both hands under the ankles and heels to my butt. That's the main thing as you're going up I want you to focus on. So he starts lifting poorly, hands go underneath, heels to my butt. And when you're in this position, I want you to focus on arching your hips in. Pretend like I'm arching harder. I don't have much arch anymore. And then once I feel that pressure release, intentionally, I want you to roll all the way through. I'm pulling on his ankles, and I'm rolling up to far ankle position. My goal is to think knee outside, driving off my outside foot. Then once I get to one side, he's going to release. I'm going to go back up to my head again, and I'm going to go to the other side. Do that 2 times each side till you get the feel of that. Each time, focus on, once you reset, hands getting underneath, heels to my butt as I get lifted. Arch to clear his hands. Fail on purpose. We obviously won't want to roll through. We'll want to go to the side. Fail on purpose. Learn how to recover up. Let's get back to far ankle position. Any questions? We'll play around with that. Go. Now the main portion, what we're going to get into. So everybody cool with the lift, you're gonna arch off. Think about the side you wanna go to. I'm better with my right hand on the far ankle. Once we get more comfortable in here, I'm gonna make you go both sides. But right now, just do the whole thing. Look, heels, fail to far ankle. Spin. So as I'm recovering up, I'm thinking about transferring the answer, but we're gonna actually look at some details in here. I'm reaching with my far knee, like I'm trying to trip it. I'm pulling the foot across because I need a hole for my outside hand to snake through to be able to isolate this bottom leg. This is our answer position. This is not. This is actually good on my ankle. This is a tough position for me to win because it's really easy for him to bring this hand in and start clearing me off. Clearing me off his ankle. So I want to be able to get my hand in and isolate this bottom leg out. See how I swing my elbow in? Then we're getting shifted back to our answer. Focus on my hand placement. Really think about keeping the leg straight. Coming in, clearing the foot, all the options we have in that position. You can keep this pretty clean if you want to and simple, or you can have him lock, start pressure in, whatever options you want to have from your answer that we work. These ones in the middle, I'm arching off, failing on purpose, doing it all the way through. My left hand, snaking inside. My elbow, let's get a little tighter. Weirdness, there you go. He feels his hand under. I've got some work to do to figure out how to get him split. I always think about getting my elbow inside right where my knuckles are, right where my hand is. Then I'm in my answer position. If he's on bottom leg, what are my options here, Pat? What do I need to be thinking?
Go back.
Yeah, so it's not on far, right?
Yeah.
So that's rotate knee in or high leg over, right? Or if I feel behind, still made it out. And what you'll start recognizing, guys, as soon as I'm getting an answer, I feel him on this foot. You'll start doing it without thinking about it. So as soon as I feel him on that foot, you'll start rotating in, catching him in that position. I feel him on this foot, I'll start highlighting over, getting back to my baseline options. The more we play in there, the more you'll recognize. You need to see it. Any questions about what we're looking for? What's up, Chris?
Yeah, when you're taking 2 knees and leg and you resplit his legs, if he has your far ankle, kind of what are you focused on to keep this from happening?
I really can't stop it from happening from this position. I'm keeping my knees to my chest as much as possible.
So you're just trying to stay crunched?
Yep. Because I'm going to have work to do from this position. You always will. It's a tough position to beat, guys. It's the reason it's going well for people right now. Split it back out. Rotate. My core stays really tight. If my hand's in and he pulls back hard and I feel like I'm getting beat, I can adjust and come back and split. I'm going to give you an option when you can't get your hand through too, where we lace his legs to be able to wrestle for him.
So it's just a wing. Just really try not to let this happen.
You can use your other foot if you need to. If you really don't want to get it pulled back, block with your other leg. Because again, if he trains to our bottom one, that's okay. We can wrestle from that position. So if you want something to stop from getting it pulled back, use your other leg. Now it's a lot tougher for me to pull back until I can adjust back out and wrestle where I want to be. Remember, we got to treat that ankle scramble like wrist control. Have to free our ankle before we try and score. Let's get to work, go. It'll start becoming second nature to you, splitting the guy's legs. If his knees are pinched together and I can't get inside, I've got some options to go into. So we'll think about lacing his leg. So the ankle I'm on, I'm pulling it behind his thigh, changing hands, and I'm trying to get to this pride position. My forearm is on his heel, and I should feel pressure as I lift my elbow up. So think about like running a half. You should stop at some point. If my elbow's slipping off and it doesn't feel tight, adjust your lock. And by that I mean get his knees closer together. You guys are wrestling freestyle, that's a concept on the lace, right? We're just doing a lace facing. So now I got his feet locked in, so now I can adjust if I need to, and I don't have to worry about him kicking. I have both his legs controlled. Can you go to this every time? Absolutely. If you end up liking this option where you feel really controlled in here, great. I can go to it every time. Then I free it off, and then I wrestle a lot like normal fall angle and crouch lock. Catching this foot, and if you guys want to play around, probably have Cruz do some false cradle stuff in here too. It's a good opportunity to put a guy in some trouble. I'll come back in and shoulder face the guy. He's taking the sword. Stepping over and getting my points. So be really disciplined on your knees as I run over. As I run him over, I'm looking for my space. I can't get to it. I'm lacing his legs. The foot I'm controlling, I want it behind. And I'm just throwing a half. And don't be afraid to experiment in this position. I've got really good control of his feet. If he starts beating me, I can pick his feet up off the mat and he can't go anywhere. It's really safe. So I can square up back in, take my score. Transition over, part of that technique, I'm very good to stack the guy up. Because the better we get scrambling in here, guys, we're going to look to turn after we win. Turns, cradles, false stuff, cross knee turns, what's up there?
You lace it and the hole opens up where you could squeeze your hand in. Is it better to do that or should you just keep it laced?
A lot of this is going to end up being preference. Where do you feel like you're scoring the most? Where do you feel the most in control? So for me, everything I do goes back to answer. Even when I'm just barely getting there, everything goes back to me. So if I'm running through and I find this, I'll shelf. Now I've got space to take my hand back through and get back in. So I won't lose this battle too often, guys, unless I get pinned around my knee. And my back is what's under the chest. Play around with that, will be the last thing we have. Go.